Alright, so here's what's happening. There is a brand new show at Disney's Hollywood Studios called Star Wars Galaxy Far, Far Away. It's about 11 a.m. on Sunday. And the first show is 11:30, which means I am going to be seeing the inaugural show, which is why right behind me is that little tent that's been buzzing with Disney management types. And then somewhere behind me, there it is, kind of like there. You can see they're going to film it because I guess for posterity or for promotional stuff or something. Yeah, I was thinking, I was sitting in launch bay yesterday, like, man, I took a lot of grief for being a Star Wars fan as a kid. And now I'm a grown up, I can do anything I want. So basically, I'm going to tell you people at Marion Hills and beyond that gave me a lot of grief on Star Wars. Suck it!
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Nice to see you. Welcome to our park. I'm answering some fan mail.
So this is the not live blog of our mail bag that we do never.
We don't have a mail bag. Would you stop?
So what's the first mail we didn't get?
Would
yeah,
you
nothing.
stop?
Okay.
Okay. So we are at Saratoga, and they have a pool table in the bar by the Turf Club. And on night 2, the score is 4-1. I just want that marked down now. Anything else?
Much worse, it's the war of the swap shots.
Yeah, we're not good. We are not good at pool.
If we had to actually call pockets, I think we'd still be on game 1.
Yeah, probably. It's pretty
Keep
bad.
it real.
Okay, so the jobs. This morning we had staffing. We were at a staffing agency, and we went to that, and it was about 20 minutes north.
Yeah.
Was it north? Yes, 20 minutes north of here. They had us come in, and they talked to us each for a few minutes, and there were a couple of things we had to do online, and then we were done. And then we get back to the hotel and discover that we have emails from them that we have to do skill assessments. So we try to do it on our Chromebook, which crashes every time you touch it. If you think about the Chromebook, it crashes.
But it crashed just because you said that.
I bet it's in the room right now, crashing. We're in the food court. So then we tried the front desk, and that didn't work. And then we went over to the boardwalk because they have a business center, but you have to pay for the internet, and I didn't know how long it was going to take. And I had an interview at 2 o'clock that I needed to get to. So we went back to the room, and I was getting ready for the interview, and I got an email that there's this plumbing company that wants me to come in for an interview. So I had to send them my resume and fill out their forms really fast. And then I left for the interview, and I had to go to Longwood, which is, it was about 35 minutes going and about 40 minutes coming back. Straight up and down I-4, so it wasn't bad at all. But I get to where, I guess it's Orlando, I don't know, because I'd never do anything but Disney. I get to where, are you in this video?
I'm here.
Okay. I get to where, I guess, the city of Orlando is, and there's skyscrapers. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I had no clue what it was. Yeah, freaked me out. There's a baby Batman building. It's so cute. So I went to this interview in Longwood, and so I got to see Longwood, and I got to see Alta Springs, and I did not like the people I was interviewing with. So if they ask me back, I'm not gonna do it. I didn't like their attitudes. Meanwhile, he's trying to fill out his skill assessments, and it's not working. And he ends up going to the boardwalk again, and then that ended up not working. So he ended up going back to Apple One, about 20 minutes north of here. I called Apple One when I was done with the interview, and they said, well, there's one in Altamonte Springs. I'll give you the address and phone number. Call the girl and ask if you could use one of their computers. And they had a lot more. And they were like 8 minutes from where I was at. So I went over there, and she's like, well, are the streets being worked on? So go, it's behind the mall. And I'm thinking, wait, I don't know where the mall is. So she said the name of the restaurant next to their building. So I just punched in the name of the restaurant and found it with no problem. So I'm at Apple One filling out paperwork. He's at the other Apple One doing the same thing. We were taking tests as to how much you knew Outlook and Word and all of that stuff. And then we both drove home on I-4, and I didn't think traffic was bad.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
it had
it was
a couple
a
of
highway.
red pockets for me, but
Yeah,
nothing.
it was a
And by
highway.
red, I mean by like an exit.
I mean, and we've driven past it before where it was completely bad, but neither one of us hit that today.
No, that's the other thing is I've seen a lot of Universal that I've ever seen ever. And it's buildings I recognize, like not actually like Universal, but like the stuff leading up to it.
We
The hotels and
Apple
stuff.
One is directly across from Universal. It's like you made the turn, and Universal wasn't directly across, but we went right past the front of Universal,
Right.
so that was kind of neat.
And so from seeing the 10 Tracker videos where they drive up into it and then they pass those hotels, now I saw what they're passing. But as far as like the actual park, if I saw it, I didn't know what I was looking at. But still, I mean, we never, ever get that far up I-4 for any reason ever. It has nothing to do with Disney. Now the other thing was this morning at Apple One, I didn't know where they actually were in the building, and it's a multi-story building. And I'm getting ready to head for the elevator, like, to what? And so I looked at the directory, and it was like, well, no, the place we had to go was on the first floor. But since Apple One starts with A, it was right at the top of the list, but then so was Adecco. And that's where I used to get assignments
You're
through
shaking the
in
camera.
Texas.
Stop touching the table.
So I went in there, and it was funny, is our office was brand new. Enough that they're like, first of all, how'd you know we were even here? And second of all, they're like, well, we don't really have any jobs today. So I applied anyway. That's what I did the pay internet for, is at least I got that to work. Because to try to even upload my resume to Adecco, the Chromebook just kept crashing.
And it crashed again.
Over and over and over. So I don't know if Adecco is going to pan out. It would be funny if it did, just because my whole thing with things going full circle. It would be funny that the last time I went out to live out of state, it was Texas, and Adecco was what bailed me out. And here I'm in Florida, maybe they'll bail me out again. But I've actually wouldn't say my eggs are all in Apple One, but I have high hopes for Apple One. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they made it sound like we would be easy to place.
And it sounded like they'd be a place that actually would do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's kind of frustrating with an out-of-state move is just you send resumes and don't hear anything. Mm-hmm. And then it leaves you to second guess, like, is it because we're not here in Florida? Or is it because they wanted to hire like that same day or what, and we just couldn't capitalize it?
Other than that, see my sunburn?
And her new hair.
Oh, and we're thinking maybe we're going to go old school with the hair and start feathering it. I need a comb, but I think maybe, well, I don't know, because once I get really hot, then it starts to curl. But I do have to grow my bangs out to live in Florida because bangs are just not going to work here.
I'm going to go really old school too and grow hair out like I did when I was like in school, like 7th grade.
So tomorrow the plumbing place is supposed to call me and tell me whether they want me to come in Wednesday or Thursday for an interview. That cruddy place I went to today is supposed to call me back to set up something next week, and I'm going to turn them down. And Apple One said they may have something for each of us tomorrow. So, and I've got another staffing agency appointment tomorrow afternoon. Should I keep it?
I'd say yeah.
Okay. All right. And I think we're going to go back to the room and check the email and see if there's anything else to add.
All right.
Anything else? What else?
Now, as far as what I'm feeling, I'm glad we ripped off the Band-Aid of going and doing the staffing agency.
Yeah.
And then the bonus of throwing in a deco for good measure, I guess. You know, Apple One says that they've got some stuff brewing, but it was all contingent on me doing these skill assessments today, which I did. Took a while, but I did it and scored well.
Me too.
And so hopefully it pans out tomorrow that they come up with something. I just, I know that our timeline's a bit aggressive. And I don't know how realistic it is to land a job in 1 week and then also get the house. It's possible this can go into extra innings. However, you know, I feel good that with day one of actual job searching stuff, that things look promising already. Not so promising that we're saying on our day one of job searching video we got hired and it's all done. And we start house hunting tomorrow, but at least, you know, I don't feel completely panicked like there's no hope whatsoever. I really don't want to go back to Illinois and have to just find a job up there and just say, well, kidding about this Florida thing and try it at some other time or something. You know, I really want it to be now.
Me too. Yep. Okay. I think that's it.
Yep.
All right.
No pressure, this is for posterity.
All right.
Well, it's time for me to give a solo update because Jamie is winging her way back to Chicago. It's Friday, April 8th. I'm at the Artagon. There it is. Oh boy. I don't know how to describe this place. It's ridiculous. It's massive. It's kind of an art mall, but that's not even fair to say that. There's that aspect to it. It's almost part flea market, part art show. Craft fair. They call it the Co-op, which is part of the idea where instead of like brand name stores that you would expect to find in any other mall, these are small businesses slash local artisans. And they really put a big emphasis on creativity here. I'm going to show one of the things that I really liked. And I'm mad at myself because I just don't think this way. So here's, look at this. This is ridiculous. Look at all these paintbrushes. It looks like what they did was they were kind of wet when they put them on the wall, because if you get close, like here's one right here, you can see that the paint dried on the wall when they put it up. Anyway, I'm kind of wandering the mall aimlessly. Spent about an hour at Gods and Monsters and I still didn't see all of it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, job-wise, I am looking still. I had 2 interviews today. There's talk of a second and final interview on Monday with a company called I don't know if it's going to pan out. It might. If it's gotten to the level of meeting with one of the owners, it probably will. And then my hope is, rather than work the week and then go home Friday, I may just say I'll just start the following Monday, and then Jamie and I will both start new jobs the same day. housing is more difficult with the dogs. I've really got to crunch and find something soon. Otherwise, there's just going to be a lot of flying back and forth in our future as we try to situate the dogs. Anyway, that's the news. I'm at Artagon. It's Friday. I ate at BurgerFi. It was awesome. And that's about it. So it's a lot of work tomorrow, and then I'm going to try and get to one of the Disney parks, one or more Disney parks tomorrow. But work first. C'est la vie. Miss you, honey. Bye. So here's the news. We got the house. We just need to get permanent offer letters and then put down the official deposit, and then we take delivery on Friday. I'm at Hollywood Studios to celebrate, and I'm walking along thinking to myself, could I be any more Floridian or Orlandonian? Got my BurgerFi cup, and I'm at Hollywood Studios on a Saturday. Life equals good. It'd be better when Jamie gets here, but you know, take what I can get. Or I'll have to go high five Darth Vader. He's right behind me, isn't he? It's Monday, April 11th, about 10 after 2 Central or Eastern Time. I've got a job interview at 3 o'clock. It's the second interview, and it should be a yes. Is my expectation. It's a temp to perm job. But I'm taking a minute to say I found a little hideaway in kind of a snooty neighborhood. It's about 5 miles from the house that we're going to be renting. And what I like about this spot is it's not only a good place to kind of get away from it all and prepare for interviews and whatnot, but it also is like a good little tiny reminder of why we're here, which is to say Jamie and I. It's not just Disney World. It's, for me, it's nature. It's all the things that are around. It's very tropical, as you can see. I've got hibiscus behind me, and then if I go this way, you can see kind of a tropical tree back there, I think, yep. But there's also pines right here. It's very a blend of north meets south for me. It reminds me of Wisconsin, but then it's also very distinctly Florida, especially with all the birds. For me, this is why I moved here. I don't want to speak for Jamie. Certainly I love Disney World. I love the proximity of it. I wish, of course, we could be closer, but still. It's within about a 45-minute drive from our house, which is more we can say than for Berwyn. That it was something like 22 hours of driving or something like that. Yeah, this is just, for me, it's what's essential. To get in touch with nature and then just get back to the beginning of things. And certainly, again, Disney World's a lot of fun and I really enjoy it and it's incredibly impressive. But this also, for me, is worth it. Anyway, as they say, the readiness is all. I'll let you know how the interview went later. So it's still April 11th. It's after 7, I want to say. Let me see if I can see. Yep, it's almost 8 actually. I had the second interview. It went well, but they're not giving me a start date yet. And everything's just all kind of on pause. The employment agency, my usual rep, wasn't there when I got there after the second interview, and this frosty other lady, frankly, didn't really know what was going on, and she was all like, well, we can't give you a letter of intent, period, like ever. She's like, unless the rental agency asks for it. So, of course, that rep is out today. So, yeah, so it's going to be a lot of action tomorrow. And then to further top it off, I get to my hotel room after all this, and the power is out. And apparently there's some major outage like through the whole building, or most of it. And then I checked the Wi-Fi, just like, well, what if that survived? Nope, it's out too. So instead I decided to go to Sanford proper, because I'm actually kind of holding the camera. It's not going to show up in this, but I'm holding it where in the center of this kind of would be where my hotel is. That's in Deltona, which is the next town up from Sanford. And I'm actually next to the Riverwalk. And I was wondering, like, I thought the Riverwalk was kind of like San Antonio or something that would be up at the stores. Nope. What they mean is it's a walking path next to actually the lake. It's really weird. On the other side of this bridge that you can't see because it's further west of me is the I-4 bridge, where on the other side of it is actually St. Johns River, which empties into this lake and then continues being a river back there. It's really weird. So hence the Riverwalk, even though it's really the Lake Walk. So it's kind of Kenosha-y in that there's a lake walk, kind of like there was there. A lot of people walking their dogs, which was cool. And then I can't get over in Florida just how many seabirds, or not seabirds, but like water, aquatic birds there are. Yeah, like cranes or seagulls or any of these birds. I'm not a bird watcher, so I don't know what they all are. But the other thing I'm seeing a lot of, which aren't really aquatic birds, is crows. In fact, some are flying right over my head right now. I've never seen this many crows in my life, I don't think, and that's living in Illinois next to a cornfield. It's crazy. But it's one of those things I think I'll probably be sick of in 6 months. But right now it's got that new state smell. So at any rate, it's not all Disney World all the time. I didn't get finished with everything I was doing until about 5, and by then I was like, I'm not driving down to Disney World for 2 hours. I know that Jamie and I talk about, well, of course we'll do that. It's like, yeah, maybe we will, but right now when it's just me alone, I'm like, you know what, I've really got to get to know Sanford better, because we're going to be like living here. So I found the grocery store for real this time. I found Michael's, I found Joann's, I found Best Buy, Red Robin, just all these different things, like basically the comforts of home are here. Sanford's loaded as far as, like, there's so many things here as far as shopping and food and all that. In theory, you never have to leave, but of course you have to leave because there's Disney World and then the Artagon and all these other things I like. So that's the poop. Hopefully I have better news to report tomorrow, but that is what's happening right now. Things kind of took a turn for the worst and then for the better. And that seems to be kind of how this is all going with this move and everything. I thought I had a job nailed down. I may still, but it's not leaving me with the impression that it's really happening. The agency that I was really high on, that seemed to be really moving heaven and earth for me, really got frosty. And when I talked to my usual rep today to find out what was going on, I had spoken to the other rep yesterday, who I normally had never had any contact with. And frankly, she was kind of a bitch. I hate to say, but that's kind of how it was. Well, in turn, I think she really garbled things up with my usual rep. And the bottom line was, she was all upset because she thought that I told this job, this potential job, that I wasn't going to be available for 2 weeks to start. Like, why would I say that? I did say that because of the fact that things are stretching into further in the week, it's Tuesday night now, by the way, that I might as well just say my start date would be Monday, because I just didn't see much point in starting and then having to leave right away as far as Friday, to be back in Illinois to then go get the dogs in the car and Jamie and all that and come back down. So then we fought this big battle about the house, about what do we have to do to keep the house because we were in danger of losing it. And the bottom line is that after much panic and deliberation and panic and panic and more panic, Jamie had this idea to just start calling places randomly just to see if they take pit bulls. And by places, I mean apartments. She did, by way of another apartment complex, get news that there was a place near here that took pit bulls, and she was like, "Well, great. What is this? Some kind of gangland shootout gallery?" And no, actually, my God, this place is gorgeous. That, in fact, now strangely, the psychic vibes were such that I was fed up. I was back in my hotel room getting out of the monkey suit after a day of beating my head against the wall trying to get jobs. And you'd think that my inclination would be like, go to the parks. And I just wasn't in the mood for parks. I mean, just being honest. So I was like, no, I'm going to hang local. But I was going to head down I-4 in the direction of the mall over here in Sanford. And see what the mall was like for laughs. And it turns out the apartments that I ended up looking at were like right across I-4 from the mall. So that was well timed as far as me getting out of the room to go do something else, and that all coinciding. I happened to catch the manager, and she's from Belgium. And her accent is really funny because it sweeps up and down very strangely. So it's like, well, what I can do is show you an apartment. Well, she said, when I asked her if they take pit bulls for real, she said, no. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, bye. I guess there's nothing else to talk about. She's like, what do you mean? I just said yes. Like, well, okay. So... Thank God, yes, they really do take pit bulls. They have no breed restrictions whatsoever. And considering how ridiculously well manicured this place is, honestly, it looks like Pier 1 showed up and made an apartment complex. It's totally how it looks. Incredibly stylish, very luxurious as far as apartments go. Ridiculous amenities. In fact, here's how ridiculous the amenities are. Not only do they have dog parks by size, like they have a small dog park and a big, which I haven't found the big one yet. They have a car wash station, complete with vacuums like you'd get at the car wash or at the gas station. Yeah, no, apartments don't normally have that. It's not gated, which is weird, but incredibly well maintained, well manicured, just obnoxious. All the patios and balconies are screened with that black screening that you'd get in the South. That's crazy. Rents ain't cheap, but income requirements are that we need double the rent amount for income. Jamie clears that right now. I, on the other hand, with no job, I'm in a situation where it's like, then you know what? Then great. I have a showing tomorrow at 11, Florida time. If it all goes well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scrap the job search outright. If the phone wants to ring and I get some crazy offer of a crazy job, then wonderful. But truly, my job search has taken a turn for the desperate, frankly. I am pretty well ready to cook meth. But it was to save the house. And I was talking to Mom earlier tonight, and I reminded her of my philosophy that I will fight the good fight, but I need to know what I'm fighting for. And this just, I'm not going to fight the fight for the house if we're not going to actually do it. I will, however, and this is the fight that I'm fighting now, is I will fight the fight to stay in Florida. And so I'm pleased to report after much agony. I mean, it's been literally a day of agony, back and forth. I almost broke down into tears today just out of nowhere because I had to use a computer to do a skill assessment for this agency uh, that really wasn't putting any effort into my application anyway. But again, desperate. I can't say no to things. But they sent a skill assessment in such a way that I had to have Java virtual machine enabled. Disney World has it blocked. The local library has it blocked. The Chromebook can't do it. So, no. And so I emailed the rep and I said, well, can I just come into the office and use your computer? I've done that before, where I've just done the skill assessment at the office of the agency that requested it. No, can't do that either. Then just no. I'm canceling the appointment that I had scheduled for them tomorrow because now the housing showing wins. I could be on a plane tomorrow night. I could be doing this update either from Berwyn or from the airport, which would be great because then Thursday Jamie's got a service coming like somewhere around noon Central Time to come gut the house. I say let's gut it. Let's throw the dogs in the car and be on the by Thursday. That would be fantastic. Much depends on much tomorrow at the showing. Much depends on just how fast I can get back to Chicago, how fast we can throw the dogs in the car, how fast we can be on the road, and really how fast can we move into this apartment. If it's really ready right now and I can really move in and it would just say it's a 24-hour turnaround for background check and blah, blah, blah. It's possible it could be available this weekend and we can move right in, right off the interstate. That'd be fantastic. Me with no job is actually a good thing because then I can go out and start furnishing the apartment. Here's the deal. Will it be the one bedroom? La 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 la. Or will it be the 2-bedroom? I don't know. Thankfully, Jamie qualifies for either one. The selling point of the 2 bedrooms, we would have 2 baths. And we would actually have a craft room, which would be good because we were gutting the apartment. Or I'm gutting the house in Berwyn, and I really hate the idea of having to just store all that craft stuff for some other day when we have room to use it. That's just a recipe for guaranteeing that we're not ever gonna until we move ever again. But anyway, the house is now Plan B. It's not that it can't happen, but the apartment has been moved to the front of the list, and which is good because in either case, the apartment or the house, we weren't looking to do this permanently. And so this is completely dog contingent. You know, the bottom line is that if we didn't have the dogs, we would already have had housing. All of this would have been a non-issue. I wouldn't be desperate for a job. It doesn't mean that I don't want one, or I'm a bum, or I'm just going to like sit around and live off of Jamie. That's not what I'm getting at. But things would be a lot looser in terms of like, you know, I don't need to desperately take a $4 an hour job. I don't need to cook meth. And neither is Jamie then, you know. But it was strictly having dogs and strictly having a pit bull that was the issue here. It's Wednesday, April 13th. I'm at my hangout spot somewhere between Sanford and Lake Mary. Tonight I go back to Chicago to go get the car and the dogs. We're going to just cram whatever we can into Jamie's car and come down. So everything else is either going to go into storage somewhere somehow, or we're just going to let it go. I'm waiting on the apartment to be finalized. It's 2/3 of the way approved. Hopefully they actually interrupt my video recording by telling me that it's ready. So with any luck I can get the keys today and start putting the stuff that's in storage here in the apartment right away. Nothing wrong with the storage place, but it's just, I'd rather it was in the apartment. And Jamie's calling. And basically, I got to go to the apartment complex and see if I can stand over them and make the heaven and earth move. If I can, then I'm wanting to just Uber right to the airport from there by way of dumping out the storage locker, like I said. Otherwise, thank God they have office hours every day of the week. So one way or the other, we will get the keys. It's just a matter of the background check clearing. Everything's paid for. That's the most important thing. So other than that, it's threatening rain. It's funny, this place I hang out at, there's so many bird calls and whatnot. It sounds like some intern made the recording thinking that it was, let's just put some nature sounds in there. They just jammed a bunch in, and it's like, no, there's just that much bird and wildlife activity around here. And it's just a little postage stamp. Yeah, see, there we go. I've never actually seen what's making that sound, but it flares up once in a while. So that's pretty much the poop. I'm going to head over to Lake Mary and hopefully have good news about the apartment. Goodbye. We're home. All right, it's Wednesday night, April 13th. I had to think there. I am on my way back to Chicago. I'm at the airport, trying to be unobtrusive as I film this. The apartment lease is signed. I basically have a few hours tomorrow to make sense of the house. Namely, say, throw everything out. And hopefully by 6 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, we will be on the road heading back to Florida. So, nothing like the speed version getting up there to Chicago. I've been doing that long drive back again. But all's well that ends well, I say. So, that's the scoop. Now I just wait for my flight. It's Friday, April 15th, and we are in the car. We're in Tennessee, and you're on video.
Hi. Driving.
So speaking of Disney and then Tennessee, we were binging on a bunch of Disney World surprise videos, and then one of the subsets of these is Disney surprises gone wrong, where they'll surprise the kids with a trip to Disney, whatever, and then the kids will flip out like, no, they wanted something else. So our favorite of the bunch was this kid absolutely lost it about, just with a temper tantrum beyond all belief because, he really wanted to go to Chattanooga, not Disney World. Well, we were just at the Tennessee Welcome Center, and I'm here to report that I got the Chattanooga Visitor's Guide.
Jeez.
And the reason why I have it is because at the bottom it says, best town ever. So maybe there's something to it. I'm going to find out what's going on with Chattanooga that's temper tantrum worthy. And maybe I'll have one too. Maybe like we're moving to the wrong state. I'll be like, no, get the. But it's the joy of renting. I mean, maybe if we find out that it was really actually Shangri-La, it's like that. Well, after the lease is up, we can go. Anyway, happy to report that we did not have a bunch of Chinese water torture the whole way here.
So far.
Now that's, now it's blacking up just because I haven't said that. It did start raining last night, but we were luckily able to get a pet-friendly hotel right away with no restrictions.
Yay, Econo Lodge! Woo, Econo Lodge!
The dogs don't know what to make of any of this. So the thing is, we might be near the apartment tonight, but since there's like no furniture worth a damn at the apartment, we're going to have to get a hotel just period, because there's just not going to be time to get something to sleep on tonight for the apartment. And then that way I'll have all weekend to furnish the apartment. Or at least get started. I don't think it'll be fully furnished by, in one weekend, but, it'll be a start. So anyway, that's the deal. We're just cruising along, state by state. So the dogs they went from being only in Berwyn to they've been to Kenosha, and now they've This is their fourth state.
Yep.
Rory's just about had it with our crap.
Yeah. They hate it. They're hating every minute of this.
Yep.
But they hated the whole car ride the first day, and then after hating the hotel all night, they decided the car was fabulous, and they lasted about 20 minutes for a nap, and now they're back to hating everything again. But they're being fairly good.
So the other thing is, so the other drama that I didn't recount was, so yesterday we had a guy come with a truck, and it turns out it was a guy with a truck.
Yeah. I thought it would be a team.
And so he did his thing. I helped him as much as I could, but my back's not the greatest.
Yeah, so the point was to take everything that we weren't moving and put it in the truck and just get rid of it. So we filled an entire panel truck. I think we did 3.5 rooms. Yeah, we had 12 weeks to do all this. And we sat and watched TV and played Star Wars games.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Well, and part of it is, it's like, you know, you just don't know. I mean, if I would have known, obviously it's like 20/20 hindsight now. If I would have known that, like, what would have and what wouldn't have fit in the truck,
yeah,
I would have called him in sooner. And at least did the basement to start with, because it's not like there was anything down there that was compelling.
right.
And then just, at least we would have, like, worked our way up.
Okay.
And there was other stuff that could have gone, like the kitchen table that we never used and stuff like that. But the bottom line was, you know, it's real hard to do when you're living in the space, because it's
Right.
like, you know, part of it is you don't know, like, what you're going to really need and what you're not. And then
Right.
the other thing is, like, there's that sense of creature comforts. And then, you know, I think it's fair to say, without being nasty, that, you know, there was a sense of inertia, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like it wasn't like we weren't trying to throw anything out. It was just, like I said, it's very hard to be in the thick of it.
Yeah.
It's another thing like now, it's like, okay, we're moving to a new place, and we know that, well, now, like, if we weren't dying for it in Florida, it's garbage, you know, that there's no question about it. But just being in the theater, you're just too close to the picture to see it for what it is, I think.
Yes. Oh, I tell the story. So yesterday we're driving, and this semi decides it's just going to swing around another semi. And we were there. We were in its spot. Ethan, thank God, managed to, he hit the brake, he hit the horn, he ended up on the shoulder. There was gravel flying. But he held it together, and he kept us on the road. Yeah, we were almost run over by a semi going way too fast.
Yeah, and not paying a lick of
He
attention.
was paying no attention to the fact that there was a car next to him.
Yeah.
But I think we were saved by two things. Ethan's talent at keeping the car on the road, and the fact that I told the guy at Pep Boys, yes, give me new tires.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we would have held on to that road without them. So we were very lucky that I spent the money and that he had control of the wheel. So, yay.
All right.
Who's driving? Oh.
All right, so that's the poop.
Oh, so the tire sensor keeps going off. That's what that was about. Yeah, I don't know why, but something's wrong with the tire sensor. But the tires are fine. We're checking.
All right, so that's all for now. More later on this relocation network.
Toodles, y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's been a while since I've done one of these. It's Friday, February. How about it's Friday, April 29th. I have been trying to get a job still. I worked a couple days at a t-shirt shop, second shift, so at least I got some kind of money coming in, and then looks like that's going to be kind of like the story of my life this coming week. Doing kind of piecemeal jobs through Ronstadt staffing agency out of Altamont Springs. So needless to say, I'm grateful for that. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, but unfortunately it's kind of a long maze-shaped tunnel. So I am at Overlook Park in, well, they say Oviedo. I don't know if we're really in it or not. We will say next to Lake Jessup, that can be confirmed. And let's see if I can still see it. Well, you'll see in the very background, I'll try to get you the picture here. You'll see what looks like a log just laying in the water. That is a live wild alligator. So that's my first one in the wild, mission accomplished. I heard this is the place to go to see him, and I did see a baby alligator in the water over there, and then there's an adult right behind. So really cool. Yes, I can go to Animal Kingdom and go see a whole pile of alligators. That's so not the point. You know, I figure if you're gonna live in Florida, you know, so here it is. Other than that, you know, I'm bummed I'm not having a job yet. I interviewed at Universal yesterday and it was a no. It didn't shock me. I mean, I did want to be able to say I had a job doing anything anywhere, but truthfully, I mean, I'm not a Universal guy. I've never even been to the park. They know that. I didn't exactly like push that at the interview. I mean, my feeling was, and this is true, that I was going to give it my all, whatever it was. So if it's working there, then sure, I'd totally pour my heart and soul into it because that's what I do. But on some level, I'm relieved because I'm not Mr. Universal so much as I'm Mr. Disney. But, and no, I'm not Mr. Disney, a different guy. But it's okay. You know, if this other job comes through and if I kind of crawl my way to it, then all is going to be well. I just need to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that it's not an oncoming train, and that seems to be the case, that it is light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm going to hang out with my alligator buddies here. I heard they're boring. But so what, you know, real live alligators, you know, as we like to say, it's the kind of things you can't get at home, short of going to the zoo, so here we are, you know, or here I am anyway. Jamie's at work. She's gonna be so pissed that I saw live alligators and she didn't, but, you know, we can always come back. Anyway, that's the news. More later. Bye.
You're missing his face.
Alright, so it's May 28th. It's been a while since we did one of these videos.
Oh, we're going to do it on Dumbo. Okay.
We're on Dumbo.
Got it.
And so,
Hi.
things are good.
Things are really good. I had a good week at work. Today's our anniversary. And we're on Dumbo.
And I got a temp to perm job. Things are starting to fall into place now. We're not quite 100% official as far as all our paperwork and stuff in Florida, but close enough. We're here. And this is pretty much how we live. All the time.
Every weekend.
Yep.
Ah!
We just ran over a mouse.
Not the mouse. Yay, Dumbo!
Yep. Well, down we go. Bye. It's the update.